Hey, welcome back to Cityscapes in another episode. Today we'll be talking about the MBTA and Columbus Avenue bus lanes. And, we're all familiar with the MBTA. You've probably rode the MBTA and you're likely familiar with the rapid transit lines, notably the orange line, the red line, the green line. The MBTA provides access to rapid transit across many parts of the city, but many of these communities are still left underserved. The MBTA doesn't go everywhere. And these underserved communities have often less access to jobs, and these communities usually are made up of minorities with lower education income rates. So this all builds on each other, and this gap between rail lines is often filled with bus service. The MBTA does try to run various key bus routes that run every 15 minutes or better all day long, and they keep this branding, such as the bus route number 22 that runs from Ashmont Station in Dorchester to Ruggles via Talbot Avenue, Blue Hill Avenue, and Columbus Avenue through Dorchester and Roxbury. Many people often have the perspective that buses are not attractive or good enough options for transit. Buses, in fact, can receive infrastructure improvements and can become speedy and competitive when compared to personal vehicles. Along Columbus Avenue near Eggleston Square, the city piloted their first phase of the center-running bus lane concept. Now, this program was so successful that the city will be extending this bus lane corridor all the way to Ruggles, near Northeastern's campus, and its main bus hub. These improvements will benefit many of the lines currently, but most notably the aforementioned 22. Despite the center-running bus lane being a new concept for Boston, the center transitway is actually pretty common in other cities, such as San Francisco and other parts of the world. So faster service and increased frequencies are great and all, but these transitways actually have many safety benefits and rider amenities that transform these high-frequency corridors. Reducing the number of lanes per direction to one makes crossing a street much easier and safer, because now pedestrians can only have to cross one direction of travel at a time, so they look one way, cross the street, look the other way, without having to worry about double threat or having to worry about finding the right gap between cars coming from both directions. This is also especially handy for the elderly who need a little bit more time to cross the street and can use these refuge islands at the platforms, whether they're going to board the bus or just continue crossing all the way across the street. What about the amenities? Well, the platforms are slightly raised, making getting on and off the bus easier now that passengers don't have to step over a sizable gap or take a big step up and down in elevation. And these platforms come with digital arrival boards and modern shelters, so it makes waiting for a bus a little bit less perilous and keeps you a lot more informed. Some people argue that they never see buses using these lanes while they see tons of traffic sitting at the intersections, but it's a sign that the bus lanes are working. Yes, buses are very much likely running every 15 minutes or better along Columbus Avenue, and they're moving right along, even if you don't see them. Northeastern University professor Peter Frith will help us explain a little bit why building these bus lanes often have benefits to road capacity.
When you see a bus, you should be saying, "Oh, thank you." That's 40 cars that weren't there. When you see a bus lane, that's inducing people to not drive and fill your lane and use the bus lane. When you drive, you have a choice of many roads that you can take. But the buses don't have that choice. And often the roads that they're on are the older roads, which is where the apartment buildings are and where businesses are. That's where you have to put the bus routes. And if those buses are stuck in congestion, you know what's going to happen. As soon as somebody makes enough money, they're going to say, "I'm buying a car and I'm going to drive somewhere else." And that just adds to congestion, puts us on a vicious circle, a downward spiral in which our roads just become more and more congested. The way out of that downward spiral is to say, are there volunteers who are willing to decongest the roads by using a bus? And you reward those volunteers. And the number of people who do that will grow every year, and that will be a virtuous cycle in which people switch to a more sustainable mode of transportation. For those who don't use the bus, who still drive, you'll be glad because you got a less congested road to drive on.
If each bus can hold 40 to 60 passengers, we should be prioritizing them and allocating more space proportionally out of the right-of-way that we have to reduce congestion, increase speeds, and improve service. Thank you for joining for another episode of Cityscapes. I hope to see you all next time.